Hello everybody and welcome back to the Stevie channel for Tier List Thursdays. And today it's a bit of a football theme. What is a football theme? We're going to be doing a Premier League season prediction because it does kick off tomorrow night. So why not? Why not get myself in a bit of mood to see a bit of football coming back, which will actually be sort of starting to filter into Pereira Sports. Got a big sort of football campaign that we're hoping to kick off quite soon. And sort of start adding to our offering if you are here from Pereira Sports. But if you're here new to the Stevie channel, smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. We do tier lists every Thursday. We're doing reaction videos on Fridays, as well as sort of feature videos along the other days as well. So today we're going to be doing this as a tier list. We're going to be taking the 20 Premier League teams, and we're going to be classifying them into our champions, our relegation, Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, top 10, and working our sort of way down. And interesting to sort of see what will happen. Obviously, the teams relegated last season: Leicester, Leeds United, Southampton. Pretty big that they went out. But we welcome the likes of Burnley, Sheffield, for example, and Luton Town to the Premier League, which is pretty exciting. Lots of transfers and stuff happening as well. So without any further ado, let's get stuck in, shall we? Because we've got a lot to talk about. And yeah, so that is the tier list over here. So again, we've got to try and decide who's going to go where. Up and down here, and it's difficult to know exactly what's going to happen with certain teams. If you look at some of the transfers, for example, Arsenal are investing heavily this season, and after sort of falling off last weekend, the big question is: can Manchester City retain their title? What will Manchester United do? Chelsea have been spending big. Will they will they mount a title defense? So it's going to be an interesting one, and I suppose I might have to be very boring off the bat, and in terms of if we start with our Champions League. I mean, for me, I find it difficult to look past City, but surely they can't win it for a game, And I think if you look at the managers who have got within them to win it, I think Erik ten Hag is a Premier League winning manager. We know that Klopp is. We know that Pep is. I think Arteta could become one. And I think Pochettino is, but I think it might be a season too soon for Spurs, for Chelsea to really sort of compete. So for Champions League, I've got to go different, don't I? I can't put Manchester City. So should I be brave and be bold and put, stuff it. My boys are going all the way this season. They're back. We're back. Probably not. But you know what? I'm gonna do it. Okay, I'm gonna put it up there. I'm gonna say they're gonna go, and I'm also gonna start by putting somebody down in the relegation zone, and unfortunately, I am going to put Luton in there. I think again, I can't say I've watched a lot of them, but brand new to the Premier League, it's a big step up there. If you look at their budget, for example, and sort of their squad, you kind of don't really expect them to be able to take a step up. I really hope they do, but it's going to have to be a hell of a season for them to remain in the Premier League. I think, especially when you look at some of the spending of other teams. In terms of Champions League spots, I suppose best to kind of sort of start there. City will inevitably be up there. I do think Arsenal will be there, and I do think Chelsea will be there. I think, in fact, I'm going to actually put Chelsea into Europa League. Very controversial. I think they're going to need another season. I think they're going to need a season under Spurs. And I'm going to put in Newcastle into Champions League. So that's how I'm looking at the moment. I think Newcastle will continue to get better. I think they've signed some very good players. And you look at their transfer market over here. They've brought in Sandro Tonali. They've brought in Harvey Barnes. They've losing say Maxim, for example. But I think that it was a squad good enough to compete anyway. The big thing, I suppose, and this is where they might swap between Chelsea and Newcastle, is Chelsea don't have Champions League to contend with, don't have Europe to contend with, whilst Newcastle do. I've also not paid much attention to Liverpool, who I'm going to put in Europa. I just think at the moment that Liverpool need a bit of a reset. I think this will be a building season for them. I do think that they will get a lot better. Look, they're brought in some nice players, and they've still got a good squad, but I don't think I fear Liverpool anymore. And, again, I think that they'll be in Europa, for example, which is a difficult thing to manage unless you try to kind of sacrifice it. But I do think that'll kind of be our top 6. Then after that, it gets interesting. very, very interesting because I'm very keen to see what the likes of a Villa do. I'm very interested to see what the likes of obviously Spurs do, and whether Spurs sort of continue what can kind of sort of turn a corner really and get back to being pretty good. Because I mean they've brought in some decent players. I mean they've Kulusevski's just confirmed on a permanent, for example. They brought in James Maddison. They brought in Pedro Porro at right back. It looks like Kane might be staying, which is obviously a big boost for them. But you kind of just always think that the Spurs just kind of float around, just don't really manage to kick on. And they finished 8th last season. So I'm gonna actually put Brighton into the Conference League there. I do think that they'll be over there in 7th. I do think they can kick on. To be honest, I think they've lost a couple of players, but I think they've got such a good system at the moment. I do think that they can afford to cope with what they lost. And yeah, I'm hoping that they will continue to kick on. They brought in Joao Pedro, nice centre forward, for example. Yes, they have lost a couple of players, but it's such a good footballing structure at the moment that they really are coping pretty well. After this, it gets a bit tricky. You know, you've got Spurs for me. I think will have to be up there. I think obviously West Ham, whilst they were fighting relegation last season, did win a European trophy, but I think the loss of Declan Rice is going to be really big for them, and I don't believe at this stage that they'll be able to cope without him. I don't think what they've done in the transfer market so far, and they're basically nothing in the transfer market so far. So yeah, I don't think West Ham's going to really be up there. So I suppose I think Brentford maybe a Brentford can surprise us once again and kind of continue being up there. Burnley under Vince Company, I'm very keen to see what they do. So I'm gonna put Spurs in there into 8-10. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, and I'm gonna put in Villa. Actually, I'm gonna put Villa in there. They came 7th last season, and they brought in Diaby. They brought in Pau Torres, which I thought was a fantastic signing. They brought in Yuri Tillemans on a free, and they haven't lost too many players. So I think they'll be competitive. And my last one to run up the top 10 is it top 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, my last one to run up the top 10 is going to be. I mean, I see Wolves doing something again. Palace, maybe. I mean, it could be a Fulham. Who do I want to put in there? I want to put in a Palace, actually. I don't seem to actually have Fulham here. There seems to be a bit of a mistake here, so I don't seem to have Fulham. So I'm going to put in Palace. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think in terms of relegation, I reckon Forest could potentially go down. I'm actually going to put them in there now. And maybe I should complete my relegation. I think Sheffield go down. I think Sheffield on a side that goes up and down. And yeah, I'm not convinced that they've got the footballing structures to stay in the thing, in the Premier League itself. So what have we got here? We've got to go 11:30. We've still got quite a lot of space to fill. I think West Ham respond better and they get up to there. I think Everton have a better season, go up to there. I think Burnley actually go into 13 potentially there. How many have I got you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah, we do seem to be missing Fulham. So I'm actually going to drop Burnley down there. I'm actually going to put Crystal Palace into this section over here. Because I'm actually going to I'm going to get Fulham and I'm going to add Fulham up to the 8th and 10th. And hopefully they can kick on from last season. I then think Wolves will be in the mix here. And I think Brentford will be in the mix here. And I think Bournemouth will be about there. I think Bournemouth escaped relegation. I've got very little reason to back that up, but maybe it's just a gut feel. So I suppose what I need to do is now is find a Fulham badge, and just quickly throw that on in there. And then we've got our tier list. And I don't know why I'm looking at this now. I'm thinking that this looks pretty horrendous. But it's difficult to know exactly what's gonna happen. Actually, there's a Fulham badge that I can, and I'll mute that one. And All right, I'm going to put my Fulham badge into there. So there it is. There it is. I'm pretty confident about that top 6, to be honest. And 7, I think Brighton will compete again. I've got no idea what Spurs will do, to be honest, but I think Villa will be better. I think Fulham will hopefully kick on. I think West Ham will be improved, as do I think Everton. I think Burnley are playing good football, so I don't think they'll necessarily be in the relegation scrap. I do think these 4 teams could be in the relegation scrap. But that's what I reckon. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Smash like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. I'd love to be reacting to this in a year's time and saying United won the title. Do I believe we can do it? I don't know. I think we could. I think we've got the squad for it. I think it depends on how Champions League goes. I also think obviously it depends on the rest of the transfer market and whether we can keep the right players fit for an extended period of time. But hopefully, here's to dreaming.